Imagine two people, both are 25 years old, both make around the same salary. Both complain about rent, groceries, gas prices, and how impossible it feels to get ahead financially. Neither comes from money, neither wins the lottery, neither becomes some Silicon Valley millionaire. But fast forward 35 years, and their lives look completely different. One of them retires comfortably with a portfolio worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. The other is still checking their bank account before buying groceries and wondering if retirement will ever actually happen. And the crazy part, the difference between these two people wasn't some magical stock pick or a six-figure salary. It was one simple habit. One of them invested just $100 every month. The other didn't. I'm Alex, and welcome back to Alex Makes Sense. Today we're talking about why investing $100 per month might be one of the most underrated financial decisions you can make. Because most people hear $100 and immediately think that's way too small to matter. But the truth is, the amount isn't what changes your life. The habit does. And once you understand how this works, you'll never look at small amounts of money the same way again. Most people don't avoid investing because they hate money. They avoid investing because they think they need more money first. After the promotion, after income doubles, after debt is paid off, after life becomes less expensive. In other words, someday. But someday is dangerous because someday usually turns into never. And meanwhile, time keeps moving, whether you're investing or not. Here's what most people completely misunderstand about building wealth. Wealth is not built by giant financial decisions. It's built by tiny repeated actions that compound over time. And compounding rewards consistency far more than intensity. If you invest $100 per month starting at age 25 and earn an average annual return of 8%, by the time you turn 65, you'll have invested about $48,000 of your own money. But your portfolio won't be worth $48,000, it'll be worth over $350,000. You contributed less than 50 grand, but time and compound growth turned it into several $100,000. The majority of that money didn't come from you, it came from growth. Your investments eventually begin making more money than your actual contributions. That's the moment everything changes psychologically. Because in the beginning, investing feels painfully slow. You put in $100, your account grows by like $7. But after enough time, the math starts behaving differently. At some point, your investments begin generating hundreds of dollars, then thousands, then tens of thousands. Your money starts working harder than you do. That's the real goal. Not just working for money, but building systems where money works for you. And the reason most people never experience this is because they quit too early. They plant the seed, water it for 2 weeks, then dig it back up because it hasn't become a tree yet. It's like going to the gym, you don't see abs after 3 workouts. But if you stay consistent long enough, eventually the results become impossible to ignore. Another reason people underestimate $100 per month is because they only focus on the dollar amount. But the real value is the identity shift that happens when you become an investor. Because the second you start investing regularly, even with tiny amounts, you begin thinking differently about money. You stop seeing every dollar as something to spend. You start seeing money as something that can multiply. Consumers ask, what can I buy with this money? Investors ask, how can this money make more money? That single mindset shift changes almost every financial decision you make afterward. That $200 impulse purchase isn't just $200 anymore. It's what that money could have become in 20 years. And once your brain starts thinking like that, your entire relationship with spending changes naturally. Investing even small amounts also creates momentum, and momentum changes behavior. Someone who invests $100 per month today is dramatically more likely to invest $300 per month later, then $500, then $1,000. Because once you build the habit, increasing the amount becomes easier. The hardest part isn't the money. It's becoming the type of person who consistently invests. Now, let's talk about something people love to say online. $100 per month won't make you rich. Technically, that's true. But that's also missing the point completely. The goal of investing $100 isn't immediate wealth. The goal is building momentum, habits, discipline, and time in the market. In fact, someone who consistently invests $100 per month is usually in a much better long-term position than someone who keeps waiting to invest larger amounts later. Why? Because time matters more than timing. A 22-year-old investing small amounts often beats a 40-year-old investing huge amounts simply because compounding had more years to work. Every year you delay costs more than most people realize, not because you're losing money today, but because you're losing decades of future growth. Imagine person A starts investing $100 per month at age 22 and stops completely at age 32. Person B waits until age 32 to start, but invests $100 every month all the way until age 65. Shockingly, person A often still wins. Time matters that much. Now, I know some people are thinking, Alex, I can barely afford groceries right now. And honestly, that's fair. Life is expensive. But this isn't about investing huge amounts immediately. It's about proving to yourself that you can prioritize your future consistently, even if it's $25, even if it's $50. The amount matters less than the repetition. After a few years of investing, something strange begins to happen psychologically. Money stops feeling quite as stressful. Not because you're suddenly rich, but because you finally have assets working in the background. You no longer feel like your entire survival depends on your next paycheck. That's incredibly freeing mentally. When you're living paycheck to paycheck with zero investments, every unexpected expense feels catastrophic. But when you know you're slowly building investments every month, even small ones, you begin feeling more stable, more secure, more optimistic. That's the hidden benefit of investing nobody talks about enough. It changes your relationship with fear. Obviously, $100 per month alone isn't going to create financial freedom overnight, but it's often the beginning of something much bigger. Better budgeting, growing income, avoiding bad debt, making longer-term decisions. Investing trains you to think beyond immediate gratification. And that discipline compounds just like money does. Once people finally understand investing, they usually wish they had started earlier. Almost nobody says, "I'm glad I waited 15 years to begin." Because investing isn't really about becoming rich quickly. It's about slowly buying freedom. Freedom from stress, freedom from financial panic, freedom from depending entirely on a paycheck forever. Every dollar you invest is like hiring a tiny employee that works for you 24 hours a day. At first, you barely notice them. But eventually, you build an entire workforce. So if you've been waiting until you make more money, or until life calms down, or until you feel financially ready, readiness usually comes after starting, not before it. That first $100 investment probably won't change your life overnight, but the habit it creates absolutely can. And years from now, you'll either be incredibly thankful you started early or wishing you had. The choice is being made right now, whether you realize it or not. This is Alex from Alex Makes Sense, and I'll see you in the next one.